Okay, cool. Well, we are live. Welcome to another Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild, which now consists of 4 incredible imprints. And we are here with you on Thursdays from 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time to answer any old questions you may have. I need to apologize. I'm so sorry. I had some technical challenges and it took me a minute to get on. And it took me a minute to get it so that our actual links for our own speakers worked. So now we have Cecilia. Yay!
It was really strange because it made me sign in with like either Facebook or YouTube.
Oh,
It like forced me to use either my Facebook or YouTube. So I just did Facebook.
okay.
Um, and so that worked.
Yeah. I mean, so I signed in and I went to hit the normal like live stream and it was like start a new live stream. And I'm like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have to start a new live stream. We should be fine.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't let me. So I had to like start all over basic. I don't know. I think everyone's like everyone meaning like all the programs have updated their like how to do stuff. So yeah, this was just really strange. But anyway, yay, we're here. So today we're not going to have Ben. Ben is actually teaching a class. Peter is going to be a little bit late, but that's all good. Um, while we're waiting for Peter, what I'd love, what have you been up to? What is new and exciting? My favorite Cecilia.
Well, I don't know how useful I'll be today because we got back from a trip from Hawaii. So
Oh
we were
my.
there on vacation and we got in last night and I'm still feel like I'm floating on the plane.
Oh
But
my.
we had a good time. We had a good time. Yeah.
How was it? I've actually never been to Hawaii. I've
Oh
always
my
wanted to. I've
gosh.
just never been.
So it's gorgeous. It was really hot and sunny. We were worried about Kiko because Kiko had formed
Hmm.
right before we left. And so we got to Hawaii and no one was worried about it. Like no one. Meanwhile,
Oh.
my family back in Florida, they're like, "Are you okay with the hurricane that's coming?" I'm like, "Stop it. Quit ruining my vacation." Like, quit it. Like you all have more to worry about than I do in Hawaii. And like nobody, we were in Waikiki and Koalina, which is on, it's not the Big Island. The Big Island gets all the hurricanes. So
Oh.
what I'm told, and then sometimes Maui and Kauai, but Waikiki area, South Shore rather than North doesn't tend to get them. So they weren't too worried. They were concerned, but but it fizzled out altogether and it missed Hawaii for the most part. So that was good news. But it was warm and it was sunny, and we were able to get out to the beach and do a little sightseeing, and that was fun. The year before we went to Fiji, which was our big
Ooh.
adventure, but we didn't have as much time this year to do that. But we are in Hawaii planning our next trip to Fiji. Is what
Oh,
we were
I
doing.
bet.
Yeah, it was still great. We still loved it. Loved Hawaii, but we probably will go back to Fiji at some point.
Oh wow. Oh, I'm totally send me whatever info you have.
Yeah,
I would love it. It really is. It's on my bucket list of places that I want to go. So,
yeah, the water is so blue, so
mm,
pretty. I love Waikiki because it doesn't feel rough. It's not a lot of rough. I'm not a surfer. I
mhm.
can't surf. So I just like the relaxing stuff, just relaxing waves. I'll be in the kiddie pool. Um, yeah.
Wow, that's fabulous. And for anybody who is watching us now, just so you know, so again, I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild, which consists of Running Wild Rise, Trompe l'Oeil, and Junkyard Rooster, which are our 4 imprints. We have actually been around. Next year will be our 10-year anniversary, and we're really looking forward to launching this tremendous, like a year-long adventure, celebration of all the amazing, fantastic stories that we've had the blessing to put out there. And I am here with Cecilia Kennedy, who's one of our phantasmagorical authors and editors. And we're here, usually we're here with Ben White, who is one of our acquisition editors. He is also the founder of Junkyard Rooster. And we're typically here as well with Peter Wright, who is also one of our acquisition editors. And he is the founder of Trompe l'Oeil. And we are here to answer any questions you have. And what makes us special and makes us, I'd say, unique is the fact that we're considered a small, large press. So because our catalog, again, we've got like 350 titles out there, and we put out somewhere between 30 and 50 books a year. It makes us unique in that we are considered more of a standard publishing house, but our acquisition model is very different than the large houses, and how we actually manage titles, how we manage stories, is and select stories is fabulous, done quite differently than larger houses. So we're here because I'd say we're pretty transparent. I don't know, Cecilia, what do you think? Like, yeah.
Yes, definitely. I think that, it's a small press, it's a traditional press in that authors are not asked to pay for anything. You don't pay to submit. You are chosen. The acquisitions team is very choosy, and they are looking for specific, specific points and a rubric that we have in our heads mostly of what's going to fit within the press. So different criterion. So we really are selective, and we love our authors, and we enjoy working with them and making sure that we uphold their vision, as well as making sure that the manuscript is as good as it can be. And just, it's a collaborative effort, but always with the author's perspective and vision in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say what also makes us unique is that we all have experience across a multitude of formats. So whether it be, it could be hardback, paperback, ebook, audiobook, graphic novel, comic book. We all have experiences across a multitude of genres. And so we bring that to the table. And we also, like I have a business background, I have a technology background, I have a more of a creative background. So as does all of us do to a certain extent, right? So we all really bring that to the table and to these conversations. So what's great about this is if you have a question, you're like, oh my gosh, I so wonder about X, Y, and Z. Go ahead, put your question into the comments section of the chat of whatever forum you're on. We live stream across YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. And then if you're watching it and it's not during the live stream, it's the recording, again, go ahead and put your question or your comment into the comments section, because we actually do check during the week to see if anyone's come back with any new questions, and we will use that as like a launching point for the subsequent live stream. So I don't know, Cecilia, I don't know about you, but man, I have been swamped.
Yes.
I think I have like 5 books that I'm currently editing. I'm almost done. We have a benefit to help those who have been impacted by LA wildfires. I'm down to 2 short stories that I'm just waiting to hear back from the authors on. and the rest are done, which is a miracle because it's something like 35 short stories that we accepted. I'm also editing 3 anthologies, 3 novella anthologies, and a memoir. And I'm supposed to be starting another memoir, or I am going to be starting another memoir. And I'm supposed to be editing my own novel called War Dogs. Oh, by the way, I also have a full-time job, because hey, why not, right? So
That's a lot.
I'm just trying to knock. I want to get a couple things in the can and on the way, so that I can then be more focused, because I right now I do feel a little scattered. And by the way, if you're one of our authors, please know and understand, this is not the Lisa Show starring Lisa, special guesting Lisa. We actually have a really solid, amazing core team, and some incredible editors who work with us on an as needed basis, who I think are really critical to all of our successes. So if you reach out to us, or you reach out to me personally, and you have a question specific to your work, if I don't know the answer, please don't be upset. It's because I didn't work on it, right? I was just one of the people who helped make the decision that we would acquire your work. And oftentimes, I am not the editor. I am not the product manager. Evangeline, who is our incredible product manager, who's been with us, oh my gosh, I want to say like 5-6 years, something like that. I mean, we all work together. So I especially this week, I've had quite a few authors who've come to me asking questions that I honestly, I just don't have the ability to answer it, because I wasn't involved in the editing or the production management process. So I ask, please go to Evangeline if it's around product management, or if it's something around the cover design, or the formatting of the work, or whatever the case may be. Or if you have a question around the editing, please go to your editor, because they will be the ones who will be able to answer your questions most effectively. If it's something where you feel like, oh my god, no one's been able to help you, you're totally lost, so forth and so on, feel free to reach out to me. Again, also understand, though, that most likely it may take me a little while to get back to you. And I'm probably going to pull in whoever it is that was involved in all of the design and the creation and so on of your work, so that I understand your question. So just putting that out there. Now, all of that said, we actually just had an email chain about what was the most common question that came up this week, and what our editors said was, it was around using previously licensed material. So I don't know, Cecile, if you want to kind of bring people into the fold. So what was that question that we saw?
It was just, I think Ben was the one who brought it up. That it came up that a song lyric or a part of a poem had been used in a work. And so when I was, I started off, teaching Spanish and English compositions. So when students would turn in papers, you could quote things because it was, necessary and important to do so. You would quote them and put them in your papers, and you could start with a quote or whatever. And it was perfectly fine because it was for academic use. I mean, not large amounts of text, but maybe a line here or there. And then I started to work for Funko as a copywriter, and those licenses are so strict. You cannot even put a line of a lyric without permission, because they may not have paid for that specific license. And everything that we did had to go back to a licensor who said, yes, you have our license, but you don't have the song because somebody else wrote that. So you can't use that song. And you can't quote the lyrics. So it was always very, very strict with Funko. But then also with publishing. So for Flash Fiction Magazine, I'm a proofreader and editor, and I have to remind authors sometimes and other team members, hey, we can't just quote a song, a song lyric. We can't do that because we haven't paid for permission to use it. We don't have permission. And in some cases, when it gets to the proofreading stage, it's already been accepted for publication. It's already been agreed upon by the author and the editor. And then I come through and I am proofreading and I see that and say, hey, guys, we can't do this. I send it back for them to work with the author. And in some cases, the entire punchline or the entire structure or the entire understanding of that particular story hinges on a song lyric.
Oh
And when
my.
I send it back, I feel terrible. But you know
Mhm.
what? They do it because they're writers, right? And they
Mhm.
figure it out. And I read it and I'm like, wow, that really works, even without the song lyric. They get it, they nail it.
Mhm.
And so it's not the end of the world. If you're told you can't use a song lyric, you can still get some of the message across. So like you could do something like you can mention the artist and some of the word, like some of the images that they might use. And then that
Mhm.
ties into your story as well, but you're not using the exact lyrics. You might be able to get the essence of it enough that somebody understands what it is, but you're not using the exact words. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what one of the authors did to fix it, and it worked. And it was legal, I think. I hope. I think it is, but it's not an exact replication of that song lyric. And it's
Got
not
it.
just changing a word or two there either, because that would be awful. Like your audience will know that like a word is off and like that's worse. But
Yeah.
they were able to get the mood without quoting or citing that line. And it's the same for published works, for pieces of poetry and other snippets from works as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, what we usually do is just recommend if you are publishing something and it hinges on a piece of work, then either confirm that it's not copywritten material, right?
Mhm.
Because there is ton of
Right.
material out there that is not copywritten, and you're fine.
Mhm.
Or or if it is copywritten material, go to the estate or whatever organization has
Mhm.
that copyright and confirm with them that it is okay for you to use it.
Mhm.
Because plenty will say it's fine, right? Like as long
Mhm.
as you give it proper credit,
Mhm.
then they'll allow it, right?
Mhm.
It's when you don't, I mean, the greater concern is if you don't give proper credit to the
Mhm.
work, typically, right? Now, if you're talking about something like a Disney thing,
Yeah.
then they're going to want like $10,000 or
Right,
something
exactly.
ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So,
It and it
yeah.
sometimes holds up the publication process because it can take a long time, for the estate or whatever to get back to you. So you may be holding up your publication, and sometimes they do want a fee.
Mhm.
If somebody's using something that requires a fee, does Running Wild Press cover that? Or,
Not
how does
typically. I
not
mean,
typically,
honestly,
yeah.
my understanding is that that's very unusual,
Mhm.
period, across
Right,
all publishing houses. They will not cover like a copyright
right.
fee.
Yeah.
So, which is why, honestly, a lot of presses will say they will not reprint copywritten material, period, because
Mhm.
they don't want to be faced with something like that.
Mhm.
We don't say that, but we do ask that you confirm either it's not copywritten anymore, so it's basically it's publicly available, right? Or B, if it is copywritten, that you confirm with that estate that it's okay for you to use it, right?
Mhm.
And then if you do need support in having the fee paid, um, I suggest it, not only with Running Wild, but with any publisher. confirm that they're willing to actually, or that they can, or if they can, support you in paying whatever that fee is. Because sometimes it's like $10, right? And sometimes it's $100,000, right? So it's being really aware of what kind of situation you're looking at. And a lot of times too, it's actually for a limited period of time, right? So they'll allow you the right to leverage that line or that paragraph or that section for like a year or 2 years or 5 years, but it's not indefinite. And so you want to take that into consideration when you are looking to make agreements in terms of getting your work out there, right? Because that can directly impact whether or not you can have it as an audiobook, or you can have it in an ebook, or you can have it in a paperback, and for how long. And you want to make sure that you're aware of that as you go into it, because it really can. I mean, it can be, as Cecilia already mentioned, sometimes you can have the work without whatever that copyright is, and it's fine. And other times it completely hinges on a simple sentence or some kind of, lines within a song that, because of the context within it, it's absolutely necessary. So if they come back to you and say, yeah, you can use it, but for 2 years, that basically means you can only have your book out there for 2 years. So you really want to think about it, right? If that's something that you really want to do. And we have Peter.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
How's everybody?
Hey.
Good.
Awesome. We're talking about the whole all around the licensing
Cool.
question.
Okay.
So what have you encountered anything recently around licensing and works that need licensing?
Copywriting? No, I was thinking about that when I saw the message, and I'm like, I've not come up with anything recently that involved using other writers' works or other writers' words. So.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about the fact, like, if you do have, say, song lyrics, or you're quoting a work that needs to be copywritten, right? And they say, oh yeah, sure, you can use it, but you've only got like 2 years, or you can use it for 3 years or whatever. Then you need to take that into consideration, because that basically means that your overall piece can only be available for like 2 years or 3 years, or whatever that time frame is that they specify.
Right. You have to credit where it's due. So.
Exactly. So that was one big topic that we had. And remember, if you're watching, don't forget, just go ahead and toss your questions or comments into the comment section of whatever venue you're watching us in. And we are more. Typically, I'll just repeat the question, and then we'll take turns responding. So Peter, what have you got on your plate? I know you've been like crazy, insanely busy lately.
I have been. I've got several projects that I'm juggling. I am getting into a novel that has a lot of potential. The problem is that the author seems to skirt the surface of all the tension that is available in the book. It's like the main character was diagnosed with this lethal disease, and 20 pages later, it turns out that it was a flu. So she was all fine. But during the entire the 20 pages, she wasn't worried about it. She wasn't fretting. She wasn't changing her behavior. There was no tension in the book. There was nothing to grip you. So you're just watching a life. We're not even watching Walter Mitty. We're just watching a character walk through life and not be perturbed or upset by this death sentence she just received. So it's like, one of my comments to the author is going to be like, dig into this. Not make it hurt, but make it feel like something that, the reader can experience and enjoy isn't the right word, but participate in and, be a part of, so that we feel something as well as reading and imagining the situation. So it's very interesting. And I've got one book that I've just got back from the author a week or so ago that I'm really excited to get into, and one book that I've poured a lot of attention into, the school marm of a school for girls in 1800s.
I don't know.
That I've gone several rounds. Well, actually, another round or two more than I usually give most authors because I believe in the story so much that I'm curious to do it. And then on top of all that, we're moving next week. We're moving from the Atlantic coast to the Gulf Coast.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be fun. We've got movers all set up. We've got everything in place, and starting Monday afternoon, it's like just going to happen. So it's our fourth move, and I think I'm ready for it, but still, it's still a big move.
Yeah, that's a lot, and
I owe you a book, and I owe you a book. So it's like this stack of stuff this big.
I'm just putting it out there. You owe me a book for like years now. I'm gonna like hunt you down. You know that, right?
It keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. Just not ready yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we're just gonna keep on bothering you because we need this book.
As well you should. I mean, this is the perfect position to be in. I have a publisher demanding my book. 15 years ago, it's like, well, you took a look at my book. No, now I've got a publisher going, where the hell's my book? So,
yeah, exactly. Where the
hell? This is all on me. This is all on me.
I honestly, that's one of those that like, I'm really waiting. I really can't wait to see it. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
And Cecilia, what have you been working on, young lady?
Well, a lot of stuff. I took on a lot of new authors and manuscripts for Running Wild Press. So I've set a deadline for each one. Remington's is done. And then I have one that an author got back with me on, did an extensive revision. So I'll be reading that one next. I did start one before I went on vacation. And so I was just gathering my notes, everything that I like. And then every opportunities, I call them opportunities to expand ideas, to weave other things in, things to consider, those kinds of things. So I just finished making that list today. And then next week, I'm going to start in on those two authors. So one's almost finished. I'm starting the next one on time. And then I've got several more in the hopper all the way through January. So I'm just going to keep the rhythm going if I can. I'll keep the rhythm going. I will make it positive. I will do this. I've got a list and a calendar. So that's what I'll do. And then I still have contract work with Super 7. So I'm still writing social media posts and just product descriptions and email subject lines and headings for different collectibles for Super 7. And then I just finished with a contest for Flash Fiction Magazine. It was one of the biggest submissions that we've ever had for a contest. It was around 286 entries, and there are 4 of us. And these are all 1,000 words. And I tried to do as many as I could before I went on vacation, but now I have a whole pile left. And it's just best that I not look at those yet because I'm still like in vacation mode. So it's probably not a good idea to look at those yet, but we respond to each one with full feedback for each author. So that's quite a challenge, but it's a lot of fun and I enjoy it. A lot of them are first-time authors. And sometimes, they'll write something at the top that says something like, will I ever be an author? Is there any hope for me? Like sometimes you get that at the top, before you even read it. They're just putting this question out there to you and you're like, oh my goodness, you're like, as long as you keep writing, and many times when I see that question from writers, I'm like, I will read what they have And yes, it might need some work, but they're definitely writers. And there's a lot there to celebrate. So I make sure that I tell them, even if I have to reject them for the contest or whatever it is, there's a lot to celebrate there and to keep writing. And, you know, I pull out my favorite lines and tell them why I really like what they've done. And then again, opportunities for revision if they ever want to submit again, because they can submit again to the story or wherever, to the magazine itself. It'll still go through the process, but they get feedback, which is the nice thing about working for that magazine. So there's that, and Super 7 and all the Running Wild Press stuff that I've taken on. And then I'm still volunteering for Literary Mama as a social media editor. And then I finished handing in a manuscript to you guys, to Running Wild Press. And then I had an idea for an anthology. So I do have an anthology idea.
Ooh.
I don't think it'll be for Halloween. I think I might be a little behind on that one, but maybe Mother's Day. Like, we need Mother's Day horror. Maybe.
Ooh, right?
Maybe.
I just love that it immediately got Peter to laugh. Well, what about, and so you got us a manuscript. Okay, that's where I was going next, was where's your own work, right? Where are you?
So that manuscript is into you guys. And so it's holding. It's just chilling there in progress, I think. So that's where it'll be for right now. And then I continue to write a story a week. I even wrote during vacation. My vacation stories are never that good because I'm too relaxed. I mean, I'm just, so I just write them just for the exercise of writing. And one of the stories that got published a while ago, the magazine contacted me. They want to do a podcast. So at some point I'll be doing a reading and then commenting on where I got the inspiration for the ideas. The story is called Kraken Seeds. And it was, which literary magazine is this? I lose track. Oh my goodness. Waffle Fried. It's a new magazine, Waffle Fried. And so it's a great magazine and it's a lot of fun. So, yeah.
So I am going to, we got a question and a comment from Rodney Hatfield Jr. On the hunt for hidden gems in a slush pile that must feel like an endless avalanche of audacious dreams. What's the one unexpected element in a submission? Be it a quirky character quirk, a plot twist from left field, or even a rogue semicolon that's made you pause mid-scroll and whisper, this one's got legs.
It's different for me each time. Sometimes it's the opening line. Sometimes I'll be reading and reading and reading and I'll think, I don't know. And then all of a sudden at the end, there's a twist or there's a realization that I really did care for this character. And I start to cry. If I start to cry, I know that it's probably a good one for good reasons, to take that one. But yeah, sometimes it is, something from left field. Sometimes it's a mysterious object. All of a sudden I'm like, okay, I've got to follow this object through. What's going to happen with it and how does it move and where does it go? Sometimes there's an intriguing element along those lines or a sense of place. Sometimes places and descriptions really draw me in.
Love it. How about you, Peter?
I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, is the sense of need, the sense of urgency for the character, for the story, for something to draw me in and say, somebody needs something. Somebody has to have something from the very get-go. I mean, authors tend to write their first paragraphs or the first chapters over and over and over again, make those the zingers, and to carry that momentum forward is what's most important to me, is to make sure that every scene holds up to that level of tension. Because if the author doesn't care, then the reader doesn't care, then the characters are just kind of floundering in the story. So it's got to make sense to me. I mean, I appreciate Cecilia's comments about the very end being the twist, you know, and grabbing you. It's like, yes, of course, that's awesome. That's always a great part of the story. As long as you're carried along on the flow, as long as not always a whitewater raft kind of thing, but where it ebbs and flows, so that you've got, in terms of excitement, couple pages or chapters to breathe and relax, and then hit the rapids again, so that there's always something to keep you engaged. That it's like, I got to pick up that book again. I got to find out what happens. That's the kind of book that I'm reading. And I just handed the last book that I was reading off to my wife, Kathy, because it wasn't holding up to that. It just didn't hold my interest. And I'm like, I don't have much time. You know, I'm editing. I've got a day job. I'm writing. You know, I'm writing, Lisa. I swear to God. So what I'm going to read is going to hold my attention. It's got to hold my attention. It's got to keep me interested. It's got to keep me engaged, so that I'm really interested in what's going to happen to the characters. And there's some books that I just cannot believe are that engrossing that I can't put them down. So I'll be sitting watching television. I'll pick up the book just to see what's going on with the character next. Like, those are the kind of stories I like. Those are the kind of stories I look for.
I agree with everything that's been said. I don't know. Well, I'm going to do my best at explaining this. There are stories that you can feel the energy in the words, that it makes you say, and it makes you say, huh, this is really interesting. And, you know, a lot of times, new writers, you know, you've got a concept, you know, you have action, or you know, you have a narrative, meaning like you have character development, but maybe it doesn't have action associated with that character development, right? It doesn't really drive things forward. Or the reverse, you have action, but there's no real drive behind it, right? And I think a lot of times for us, it's finding whatever that energy is behind the words, where you know when you read it that this is something that the author or the writer, they have a concept, they have an idea, they have a goal, but maybe they don't know how to accomplish it yet, right? And for me, those are the hidden gems, right? Where and we've actually had a few that went on to become to be named among the best of the year. Actually, we've had several instances where that's happened, where when we sat down, our acquisition team sat down and we reviewed. We had our acquisition session, to Cecilia's point of we're all very opinionated, right? And we all have big ideas. And so we read these concepts, we read these stories, and oftentimes, you know, if it's something where you actually end up splitting the room, not everybody says, oh yeah, we have to acquire this, but it's like a half and half. To me, that's the hidden gem, right? That's the one where some of us are sitting there saying, oh, wow, I love how he did X, Y, and Z, but this part didn't quite work, right? Or this doesn't really make sense to me. And a lot of times, if as long as someone in the room within our submission team or acquisition team says, you know what, I would edit this, we'll acquire it, because that means that one of the people at the table has already made the decision that they want to collaborate, they want to partner with that author and ask those leading questions that'll help the author think through, what is the story really about? What is this narrative really about? What am I really trying to accomplish? And how can this editor help me in fulfilling those objectives? And I think that, for me, that's what I look for, is that that to me, that's the hidden gem. And again, we've been really, really blessed in having several that went on to get to be acknowledged, whether it be from a Kirkus review or from an Indie Reviews or from a multitude of other reviews, which, by the way, we actually this week I was informed of 2 more of our titles that were named must gets by Kirkus Reviews, and which one of them, Kirkus, for anyone who's not familiar with our process, when the book goes out to production, when it's usually, I want to say 6 to 9 months before the actual publication date, our product manager sends out what's called a one-pager. And a one-pager is basically like a pitch page of what's the story, what's it about, who's the author, what's the author about, any additional information about it. And the intent of it is to get those, the reviewers, to get the press sources, the social media, the influencers to want to pick it up and to then do some form of review or some type of promotion associated with it. So we've actually had a couple that recently got reviews from like from a Kirkus and from an Indie Reviews based off of that material that's then distributed. So we've actually found out this week that we've had a few quite recently that were given really, really stellar reviews. Which of course means I'm not going to remember what they are because I'm not prepared. And my apologies for that. I'll have to go back after this and provide links to them. But they are, it's looking for those stories. To me, I mean, that's what we're really about, right? It's finding those hidden gems, finding those stories that have a ton of energy, and or even ones that, like, let's say the author is known for publishing in a specific genre, and what they're submitting to us just is not normally what they would write, or not normally what would be published by their respective publishing house. To me, that's exciting, right? Because it means this author has been playing, right? Like maybe they're known for mystery, or known for thriller, or known for horror, or known for literary, and they've always wanted to do X, Y, and Z. Sending that to us is a freaking blast, right? Because we get to have the opportunity to help flesh it out with that author and make it something that, they really get to explore that voice, that vision. So
cool.
Which was a complete ramble. Now I feel like I have to go and find the most recent reviews we've gotten again that were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So in the meantime, do you guys have any other questions or thoughts? Anything you want to toss out to us?
Well, I kind of felt a little. You got something to say, Cecilia?
I'm sorry?
Oh, no. Okay. I was in a strange, awkward position. A couple weeks ago, I edited Curtis's short story collection. And every one of his short stories was published by a bona fide publication. And I'm like, okay, well, these are guys that are on my level, on my level or above, whatever. And I found stuff I had to fix. And I'm like, is he going to be upset that I'm editing what has already been edited and published before? And he pushed back on a couple things, and that was understandable. But there was a couple things where it's like, oh, yeah, that could be tweaked. That could be fixed. Or what did you mean by that? And I'm like, so that was like kind of thin ice that I was treading there, because I didn't want to, trample on anybody's ego. At the same time, I wanted to be the best possible pieces for Running Wild or for Trompe l'Oeil as they could be. So I put in my 2 cents, and we went from there. So both his latest novel and his collection of short stories is with the production team. So hopefully they're coming out next year.
Lovely. That sounds wonderful. Yeah.
So.
Now I feel you on that, Peter, because we've been blessed in that we've had several people who are really phenomenal authors and phenomenal editors that we have a long history with, who keep printing with us, which is amazing, right? Who keep publishing with us. And but dude, sometimes, you know, you'll hit a section that it's like, oh, okay, we need to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, like let's figure out how we can make it the best it can be. And you know, I'd say 85% of the time, the person is open-minded and like gets it, right? Like gets why we're asking the questions we're asking, right?
Mhm.
It's only that like 15-ish% of the time when the person, you know, came in and actually I want to say, no, I'd say like 99% of the time they get why we're asking the questions, right? Because for anyone who hasn't worked with us before, we very rarely come in and say, you must do blah, 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 right? We typically ask leading questions to kind of help you think through the section that we're having challenges with or that we're finding may need some additional revisions. And usually, at least, and you guys totally chime in, I'd say 99% of the time when you position it and like, here's this leading question about X, Y, and Z, the author goes, oh, wow. Okay. You know what? Wow. Let me explore that. Right. Let me add to that. It's very rarely someone comes back and is like, screw you. This is done. I don't know. What have you experienced?
Well, go ahead, Cecilia. You have anything to say?
Well, I've had a few who do push back hard, even when sometimes it's as a reader. As a reader, I'm on your side. I'm rooting for you, but this just really isn't working, and I have to tell you that it's just not working. And all you have to do is maybe move this here and this back a little bit, and that you don't lose anything. You just chop it up and reorder it, and it kind of flows. And they're like, no, this is what I had in mind. I'm like, but you're not losing anything. And your reader is going to, you know, really need this. Otherwise, they might not finish it. So, I mean, it takes me a lot of, okay, like just trying really hard to negotiate sometimes some changes that really do need to be made. But, you know, just trying to explain, you know, from a reader's perspective, if you hit them with a summary, that just reads like a genealogy page, it's going to slow them down, you know? So you may have to move. So I understand that you need this for this character, but maybe let's start here and then move it. And eventually, you know, they were able to see that, but I try not to take too much away. But I do have to sometimes try to explain from a reader's perspective. They might not sit through what is there. I mean, I did because I love this character. So if we move this, or I love this element, if we move this up here a little bit and just kind of move it around, we don't have to cut. Although sometimes they'll be like, well, maybe you might be able to get away with not having this part here. And, you know, if they see that, that's fine. If not, if they come back with like, this is what it is, then, you know, that's what it is. But yeah, sometimes I try to get people to move things around a little bit.
I love it.
Well,
what about you, Peter?
Well, to Cecilia's point, I mean, we've been doing this for quite a while. We know what we're doing. We look at books objectively. Authors, by default, don't look at their books objectively. They're their babies, they're their children. They're exactly how they want to be. The problem is they're missing several elements. Like Cecilia is saying, flow. You got to move through the story in such a way that keeps the reader engaged. One of my biggest issues is that the author sees the scene in their head and doesn't translate it to the page. So you've got 15 pages of dialogue, and we went from the car to the soccer field, and all we've got is dialogue. There's no reaction to anything. There's no pictures. There's no color. There's no description. It's like, oh my God, this is boring. This is not a movie script kind of thing. So it's like, that's one of the biggest things that I bring up to authors. Another thing is that this process, by its very nature, is collaborative. It's us working with them. And like I tell every one of my authors, this is your book. This is your right to refuse or deny or just completely ignore every request I make, every question I ask, every comment I make. That's your call. I mean, I'm doing this to make your book better, but if you don't disagree, that's your call. But I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for a while. So listen to and respect what I'm saying, because I'm trying to make your work better. Now, if you're not open to that, if you're going to shut down everything I'm going to say, we're not going to work together. I mean, I've had authors' contracts canceled because they pushed back to such a degree that I knew that there was not going to be, and I've had Lisa's support on this, that I knew this was not going to be a process that we could make work. So it is collaborative, and it's something that needs to be organic and whole so that it benefits the press and the author. We're just middle people. That sounds weird. Middle people.
And you know what? Actually, that's a great point. We've had, and admittedly, a handful, right, of people that they'll come on board, and we give recommendations, and they're like, screw you, you can't tell me what to do. And understand, and I don't, this is going to come out egotistical, and I don't mean it that way. Understand, our core team is what, like 8 people. Our extended team is around, I'd say, closer to 20. And understand, I mean, we put out 30 to 50 books a year. And now that we have 4 imprints, that may expand, right? We get over 1,000 submissions. Now, I'm including short story anthology, short stories, novellas, narrative poems, and novels, as well as memoirs in that. But still, for that number of people in the core team, that's a lot of submissions, right? And quite a few of them are fabulous, right? Or quite a few of them have a lot of potential. So if you come to us and you tell us, screw you, I'm not doing it, we'll say, okay, have fun. Because there are tons of ways that you have to publish your story. You can do total indie, meaning like completely independent. Right, you could continue to seek out agents and see if someone will represent it. You could, you could sit on it. I don't know. You could post it on your own social media, like a chapter a week, right? And see, what kind of response you get. You could do it by audio, right? There are tons of ways that you can put your work out today. And I encourage it, So, if you come to us and tell us to screw off, to Peter's point, I can't think of a single time when we went, no. We will always support the author in the author's decision. It is your work, right? So it doesn't make sense for us to sit to, now, mind you, if we were like, a St. Martin's or a Penguin Random House or something like that, and yeah. And, we paid some kind of couple of, $20,000 up front or something like that. Yes. Then you would be telling you, well, hells no, you don't have a choice. You have a contract, and then we will never work with you again. Right. Because that's just completely unprofessional to, come at it that way.
Right.
But I'm going to say in our 10 years in existence, maybe 6 times it's happened, something like that. So, and I still wish those authors, I hope they're really successful. I think it would be fabulous. So, yeah.
Personally, I would never say screw you to Cecilia, but that's just my call.
I would work.
The wrath of
Like
the
a horror
generation,
story.
the Mother's Day Massacre. I'm just.
Oh my gosh. It's got to be like Mother's Day Massacre anthology. Like,
I want to do something along the lines of weird horror, like
Okay.
Lovecraftian, but with
Mhm.
moms. I don't know how that would work. So I wrote a story that I haven't typed up yet, but I'm going to kind of look at it. I might send it around to you guys and we'll see, or maybe some of the other horror writers and whatnot
Do
within
it.
Running Wild Press, just to take a look at it and then maybe figure out how to do this anthology and maybe get a couple editors on it or something.
I can tell you right now, Amir would adore creating the cover design for that.
Yeah,
Could
that'd
you
be fun.
imagine?
It'd be really fun.
Oh my God. Oh, and with that, we are already out of time, which blows my mind.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Where's your knife? You gotta be holding a knife.
Right? So guys, don't forget, go to our submittable submission page and feel free to submit to I'm actually looking up our submission page now. Feel free to submit to wherever you deem appropriate. Don't forget, next year is our 10th anniversary, and we're actually going to be doing a few things every month. Next month we will be doing something in celebration to honor all these phenomenal stories that we've got out there in the world. And if you come up with any questions or anything that blows your mind, go ahead, pop it into the comments section of whatever venue you are, wherever you are watching this, and we would love to check it out. So with that, as always, thank you. Huge thank you, Peter. Huge thank you, Cecilia. And huge thank you, Rodney, for your fabulous questions.
That's a good question.
We adore everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Ciao.